What could your life look like if you truly had blind faith? I'm Tina Yeager, host of Flourish-Meant, and I'm here to introduce you to an amazing story and an inspiration you'll never forget. My guest at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention was Chad Roberts. He's an author, he is a pastor, he's a Bible teacher with Awakened to Grace, and he suffered sudden blindness in 2018 and yet continues to share his ministry that he was called to, sustained fully by the grace of God. I look forward to sharing this impactful, meaningful, unforgettable story with you. I hope you listen all the way to the end so you don't miss a moment of his powerful insights. Let's speak for a moment to that person who's out there who's suffering and they don't know how to reconcile where they are, the pain that they're feeling, with a relationship with this God that, as you mentioned, you can't see. Where would they need to start in beginning on that journey of getting back to being in touch with a faith in that God they can't see, that doesn't seem to be working things out for their good according to their senses?
What a great question. Paul had the right perspective, and he teaches us the right perspective when he said that our sufferings are light and momentary. Now, how can we say that when we're hurting so bad? Paul was able to say it because he compared it to eternity. And he said, compared to eternity, the sufferings we're going through are light and momentary. And I think what that means is, as believers, we're going to have an entire eternity of no suffering, to the degree that God will wipe away every tear from our eyes. Well, part of that is the Bible teaches that God will glorify himself for all of eternity through our sufferings. So what that tells me is the handful of years that I have on this earth, the handful of decades that I have to suffer, I can suffer well. And I can trust that God has a greater plan. And really, it's part of a plan that I won't even fully see until heaven. So keeping that perspective, knowing that God isn't wasting what you're going through, that God is not angry, that he's for you, that is what I think helps people get through seasons of suffering.
And you talk about suffering well. What does that mean exactly?
Well, I think, someone told me when I first went blind, I'll never forget it. They said, Chad, this can either grind you down or it can polish you up. And I determined in my heart right at that moment, I said, this will polish me, not grind me. So I think suffering well means suffering with joy, living life as a joyful person, not growing bitter or angry or resentful, but no, choosing joy. And I think that's what it means to suffer well, to glorify God in those ways.
And that doesn't sound particularly fun or exciting. People are listening to this and they're thinking about their own suffering and looking forward to years perhaps of suffering, even if it's suffering well. Doesn't sound like a good prescription for their life. So what can you tell that person that gives them hope for now, not just in eternity, but for now?
No, it's such a great question. In Psalm 23, so many people love that chapter and have it memorized. The Lord showed me something in Psalm 23 that I didn't see until my life came to a screeching halt. Instead of getting in my car, zipping around town, meeting after meeting, getting on airplanes, flying to other countries, all that was taken away from me. And the Lord showed me Psalm 23. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. I would say to that believer, there are green, lush pastures that you will never know apart from suffering. And there are times that God, I love the wording, he makes us to lie down. Why? Because he knows those green pastures are good for us. So I would say, trust the wisdom of God. Trust the love of God. Trust the sovereignty of God. And as you do that, you'll discover lush green pastures you would have never known any other way.
What is one main point that you want to make sure the audience knows about your message of the theology of suffering and how to experience God in a richer, deeper, more meaningful way?
I often say, I may have blindness, but blindness does not have me. I don't live in a place of suffering. I live out of a place of joy. And what I tell people regarding this new book is that All it is, this is all the book is. It's a guide. I found a well of grace in my suffering that has completely and utterly sustained me. And all this book does is it points people to that exact same well. And that well is the truth of Scripture.
Such profound and incredible insights. And I'm so appreciating you being on the show and sharing all this today. I wish we could cram more in, but you have more to say, and you have more in your book and more on your website. So how can people get more of your messages, get your book, and stay connected with you?
Well, they go to chadroberts.org is the best way. We have a great free mobile app called Awakened to Grace. They can download it from anywhere. And then, of course, we do weekly devotions. We got about 30,000 people we send weekly devotions to, and they can sign up for that at chadroberts.org.
Thank you so much, Chad. I really appreciate you being on the show today.